Just gonna, if you guys can hear me, just give me a hey in the chat. Should just be off to the right there. Just getting LinkedIn set up. Perfect. All right. I'm gonna let the stream catch up for a second. You guys are welcome to ask questions, but the reason why I'm doing it this way as opposed to inviting everyone into like video chat is just because I want to be able to get through as many decks as I can before I lose my voice, which is for some reason happening right now. But also, it's good to have me. What the strategy behind all this is to be able to rate and score decks as if I'm a VC receiving them via email. So there's no chance for rebuttal. There's no chance to explain yourself, and albeit the natural experience, response from most founders is to come in and explain all the awesome things that you do, but the premise is you don't usually get that opportunity in almost any circumstance, and so this is why I like doing these deck reviews, is to kind of show why you're landing meetings or why you're not landing meetings with VCs. So hopefully you guys are able to. Yep, all right, you guys can hear me. Good. All right, just give me a second here as I adjust some things. Just adding the decks to my queue here. Hopefully we'll be able to get to as many as possible. Okay. All right. I think I have that one already. Have that one already. All right. Let's take this one. All right. I think I have that. All right. All right. Just a couple minutes past one. That's a video. Okay, we don't want to do video. All right. All right, we're gonna skip that one. Definitely for future reference, if you submit your deck, make sure it's a PDF, preferably. Via Google Drive or anything like that. It doesn't require permissions, just because. No worries, Alan. You can just this is all gonna be recorded. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube after the fact, and share it on LinkedIn. We are live on LinkedIn. Curious if we have anyone jumping in. Should just check. All right, I should be able to get started in just about a minute here. Okay. Oh, I didn't go live. That was the problem. There we go. It's always important to check your work and make sure you're actually going live, especially when you're managing a couple different things going on. All right, we are live. Oh, mute myself on listening to myself. And mute myself here. All right, cool. We are now live. I will go ahead and get started. Again, the original premise here is to basically come in and treat the decks that I'm going to review as if I'm a VC who has no context about this business outside of I was sent a deck and I'm now deciding, do I want to have a meeting with you? And that's what decks are for. At the end of the day, you're not trying to sell you're not trying to close an investment. You're not trying to close the sale with the deck. You're just more or less trying to convince an investor that it's worth spending 20 to 30 minutes with you. And that's what we're trying to accomplish with pitch decks. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of founders will spend a lot of time trying to add anything and everything in the deck because they think it's their one chance, but that typically will convolute the situation and require, prevent a VC from actually wanting to meet with you. So you want to keep things clear and concise and make it as desirable as possible to leave a little bit of information to make sure I want to come in and ask questions. So For everyone that's attending, I am basically putting on my VC hat. Yes, the show has begun. I'm putting on my VC hat with the intent of reviewing these decks, and ultimately I'm going to review them. I'm going to think out loud as I review them. Keep in mind, I've not looked at these prior, and so these will be my honest first impressions of these decks. And some I will barely be able to get through because they won't be very good, or some will be amazing and I'll spend a little bit more time. There's not a I'm going to spend 2 minutes on each deck kind of thing. It's I'm going to feel it out and I'm going to try to articulate my thought process as I go through. I won't necessarily hit every single point and every single slide because that's not realistic, but I'll do my best to get through. I think we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 decks, which will be, tough, but we'll do our best. Cannot hear or see the roast. Peter, you're not able to hear or see anything? Can you guys hear me? Worst case scenario, we do have the LinkedIn Live. I can share that now. I think that will work. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in here. Live on LinkedIn. Okay, yeah, you guys can hear me. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump in. Okay. Oh, let's do this. Perfect. All right. So this company, CO2 Pulse, net zero supply chain at zero cost. Okay, so I'm thinking, is this maybe climate tech, something along those lines, and supply chain. All right, breaking the status quo, supply chain decarbonization. All right, so, all right, cool. And all right, so we're talking generative AI, blockchain, supply chain decarbonization. There's a lot to unpack here. To be completely frank, I can't just quickly skim and understand. So, B2B decarbonization as a service. So you're saying a lot of buzzwords. It costs nothing model, maintaining user profitability while keeping their carbon reductions obligations. Cut decarbonization costs by adapting. Okay, so I kind of get the gist. Decarbonization, and you're using a bunch of tools to do so. And it sounds like you might have an innovative business model. But first, right off the bat, I'm having a hard time keeping track with an About Us. Typically, I don't see an About Us at the top of the deck, unless it's like the team or something like that to kind of establish credibility. But let's see what the problem is. Generating cost decarbonization of the supply chain. So it's the cost to decarbonize the supply chain is high, is basically what I'm interpreting here. Whether that's right or wrong or intended, we'll see. Critical business function. Basically, all right, so focus on. All right, so what I'm getting here is lots of roadblocks, lots of issues, massive problem in decarbonization. Obviously, decarbonization is a hot topic now. And you're giving what seems to be an allusion to that you're going to have a free way to solve this problem, which obviously in theory is like, okay, piqued my interest. Like how you got my bullshit meter's on. I'm thinking like, okay, is this possible? This is a big deal. And then what we offer, so I guess, is the solution. Built on top of deep learning algorithms, descriptive analytics, and okay, so Gen AI solving all the problems, I guess. So I am curious how you can make changes and improve the system in the supply chains without making any CapEx investments. So I'm very skeptical. I am getting to the point of disbelief. And there's nothing really concrete here to defend this. It's just kind of like buzzwords to this point. Past and current impact on emissions. All right, so you have a concept of where you might pull in this data, I guess. So impact on so data on historical emissions. Um, I'll be honest, I am totally at a loss as to what actually you've built and or are building at this point. I'm just reading buzzwords. You haven't shown me anything. You're just telling me, but you're not showing me anything. And that's a problem for a deck. You want to be able to articulate, ideally, like a clear point with maybe just supportive material to complement. But what it's done here, it's like multiple points that somewhat correlated, but like completely different, as far as how I'm reading this. And like, again, this might not be the founder's intent. They might want to jump in here and tell me everything I'm reading wrong about it, but I can only go off first impressions. I'm reading this deck without your support as a founder, and this is what you're shipping out and putting out into the world, and I'm, not feeling this one here. And I'm to the point where like, oh yeah, long-term opportunity, supply chain is big. I get it. So I don't have to be convinced too much of the market. But user-based target, initial focus, users on mandatory carbon markets. I guess, do you explain what okay, here we go. Average trading price between the highest and lowest values in mandatory carbon market versus voluntary carbon market. Okay, so I guess these are businesses that have certain political constraints on decarbonization and must make purchases around this. So one carbon certificate, $30, okay, for 1 ton of CO2. So good, okay, you explained it. That's important. So now I'm able to follow along. Okay, so this is not terrible, but I guess I don't know why this is 100 million pounds of initial focus. You haven't explained to me who the initial focus is. Business blueprint, win-win model, no cost to our users, revenue linked to the results we achieve. So, okay, so it's no cost for your solution. That's what you're saying here. You're doing a rev share model, so you're taking a percentage of the credits that are captured in this process. Got it. Okay, so that's a common model. I've seen that before. At least the way it's being presented up here is that they can get carbon neutral without any kind of capex, which is misleading. That's how I was reading this. So just some feedback there. And I guess per user, it looks like you're going after enterprise. So I'm not sure if user is the right word. It would probably be client or account. User implies that there's just a single person that's going to be generating this value. So be careful with the word user in that regards. Not sure how. I guess that's the target of 55% reduction. And a lot to kind of redact here. 5 years revenue. So okay, so this is how you got to your SOM here. Moving down 2 slides. And yeah, I got to be honest. I'm having a hard time just wanting to read this. There's just a lot of words on the page. It's not designed in a way that allows me to flow organically. I would not, want to continue reading at this point. It's just hard to follow because I haven't seen any kind of validation in what you're doing. You haven't proven that you guys are at some kind of stage or level. There hasn't been any context around that. I think from, let me pull up my notes here. Oh, it's broken. Okay, 1 second here. Where are you guys? So you guys are technically claiming you are, sorry, I just got to pull up my notes on another screen, that you guys are, what stage? Pre-seed. Okay, so you're pre-seed, so I can understand why you guys don't have any kind of substantiated traction. So I guess that's one piece of context that I'm missing. So you're really just selling an idea at this point. I'm not sure if you have any product built. Okay, here's your pre-seed. So only 250K, relatively small amount. So not unreasonable. You guys are trying to go after a massive market. I just don't see anything that makes you qualify to execute across it. I didn't even want to get to the team slide. When you're a pre-seed and you're going after something very large and big, you don't have a lot of traction, tell me about the team first. Maybe not the first slide, but just how you guys are qualified to make this happen. And I think that's something that's important for early stage, pre-seed, pre-traction companies is to be able to articulate what makes you guys special. Like these things, like okay, AI and data science expert. The 100 years combined thing, anything years combined, I hate. I just find that as just a made up number. It doesn't actually mean like you could have sat at a desk with a title for 30 years and say you had experience when you don't actually do anything. So it's a meaningless number meant to kind of bolster people that don't actually have any real world accomplishments to disclose. So these are just like resume check boxes without actually talking about accomplishments. So I'm not wanting to jump out and have a meeting with you. So when it comes to our rating system, albeit I know my feedback might be a little harsh, but that's kind of the name of the game, is to be honest and forthright on this. So, I see some piece I would probably give it like a 1 or a 2 out of our rating scale of 5. There's just not enough here to convince me that this is worth a meeting. Like the market, I see, a lot of opportunity, but there's just so many players in, decarbonization that have way more traction that I'm going to prioritize them, when that deal flow comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and give this like a 1 or a 2. All right, moving on. We have ViaTechMD, cervical stabilization device. So obviously a very powerful image, really kind of, you could feel you already see the problem. So I'm already kind of like, okay, like this sounds like it could save lives. There's got to be something here. I'm intrigued to read more, although very sad to see a picture like that. I'm hoping that this is their device that's saving a child's life, because now I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So introductory statement, not a huge fan of these. You're asking a VC to spend like a minute reading. They're going to skip this and try to go on to something else. So, okay, a lot of material here. I don't want to read this. This is my first response. And, unless this came from like a close friend, I'm not going to give this a shot. As far as these slides, I'll move on to the deck. I'll just kind of skim. But like, okay, you stop me at the picture again. It's obviously very difficult to look at and stops you, but each day I'm going to do, okay, so powerful statement. That's a big problem. And preterm birth is again like way too much copy. Like you already kind of trapped me with these images. I already can kind of understand the problem with this statement. You don't need to give me all of this. Again, all we're trying to do is get a meeting. And if I have any investment thesis in relation to med tech, health tech, things along those lines, my thesis is anywhere, shape, or form aligned to this, I would probably be interested in learning more, but I don't necessarily want to read all these lengthy bullets. You can tighten this up substantially and still have the impact you need to have. So certain markets are more impacted than others, India and China being the biggest. Okay, I think you had some numbers here in terms of market size. Okay, so born preterm, average cost of medical care, low birth weight. Wow, $80,000 per kid. Okay, so that's wow, they couldn't even survive with less than 28. That's pretty crazy. Wow, and then can get as high as $1 million. So very expensive, very big problem. Just very poor execution on the deck. Unfortunately, it looks like some other medtech decks that I see, but they're just very wordy and they have more information than that's needed from a VC perspective. All right, so let's do the solution. Oh, so I guess this is keeping the baby in. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right, bye. Let's go swim human. Okay, so I'm aware of this problem. I've had a close friend go through something recently with this particular issue, and this technically could have saved their child's life. So obviously, very, very powerful, solution, assuming it works. So what stage are you in trials? Water first in class. Okay. So now I'm like, okay, you're solving a big problem. I'm interested in how far along you've gone with this problem. Yeah, obviously, like every single person that's ever been impacted by this is going to want this if it works. That's clear. So, like, you're solving a true pain. It's really about what's the status of your clinical trials and where you're at in terms of your stage to justify whatever you're trying to raise, and also what the model is, because these types of things can obviously take off and explode, and obviously different markets will have different prices. Obviously more expensive in the U.S. and maybe less expensive and accessible in other countries. Funding and use of proceeds. Seeking up to 4 million. Okay, so you've already raised 4 million, and you're looking to raise another 4 million. Okay, so patient kit development. Okay, so you're real early. Got it. All right, so that makes sense. That explains kind of the quality and state of the deck. Decent amount of raise, but that's not unusual in this space. And then you basically want to go into the other markets and classify, get qualified in those markets. In my opinion, stick with one and U.S. pick a market and get to scale there before having to deploy in every other one. But I'm not a medtech expert, so okay, so this is good. So like having something like this kind of stuff would be important to kind of demonstrate above. So it sounds like you file a lot of the necessary patents to protect yourselves, which is smart. That's super crucial in this game. And now you basically at the stage of production and manufacturing capabilities. Okay. Okay. So $400 million exit from one of the founders. That's great. Again, this combination of years, I hate it. Just tell me, each person. So this looks the founder. So we got Benjamin, Benjamin squared. Lengthy backgrounds here. So, all right, my quick recap here is solving a massive problem, a very painful problem with what looks to be, and I can't tell for sure, but a feasible solution that I imagine almost any mother carrying a child at the threat of losing their child would adopt this device if it was made available to them. So this could be, obviously a very slam dunk, product one if it gets through all trials and meets that opportunity. So this, is worthy of investment. It's worth a meeting if I were a medtech, investor. I will say the deck is absolute crap in my personal opinion, but that's typical of what I see of more of like a medtech or a deep tech kind of deck. They just kind of heavy bullets and stream of consciousness and cover every single detail. You don't need to do that. You can keep things a lot simpler, get straight to the point, and you could potentially attract a lot more investors. But in my experience, a lot of biotech, medtech investors are familiar with seeing these really bad decks. And so it is what it is. And if you're solving a big enough problem, like I just did, I skimmed through it because I can clearly resonate with the problem. So the issues for you will be here just getting in front of the right investors that are willing to take this early stage risk and understand the kind of FDA process, and will hopefully add value along the way. But nonetheless, solving a big problem. I would say, it's a 4. You're onto something big, and you just need a few more details and address a couple details in the deck. And hopefully there's no major flaws or skeletons, in the due diligence phase. But thank you for solving this problem. I hope your product comes to market. All right, moving on. All right, what's this? Pageant for moguls. Okay, interesting. Okay, so a lot to read here. I I'm a little like, okay, how are pageants venture backable? Again, putting on my VC hat. Maybe there's other people that want to invest in this. Angels, high net worth individuals. But looking at this, I see just one. I don't want to read it, but you do convince me. Okay, that's interesting. I would want to see the evidence of how pageants is a $20 billion industry, and how that's calculated and what goes into that. I would like to see the data that supports these numbers because when you okay, yeah, is pageantry dying, dead or evolving? Like, so I would just need to see these validation points because I just wouldn't believe it. I don't think pageants are big, but clearly I'm being, you're trying to prove us wrong and you're trying to capture our attention with that. So maybe you're right and I am wrong. Um, okay, so we've got pageants for scholars, pageants for beauties, pageants. Okay, pageant beauties for Bitcoin. Okay, interesting. Um, I don't know. Like, I'm not too intrigued to keep reading this. Okay, so some top celebrities came out of pageants. Interesting story. Um, I guess you guys are trying to be the in between a Miss Universe and a Shark Tank. So I guess business women pageant. I guess, is it a business pitch? Is it a beauty contest? A little confused. Okay, so all right, here we go. It's pitching to fund their brand. So I guess it's we're investing in the financial independence and the future of women who compete for Queen Beauty Crown. Um, okay. Um, so beautiful women that are bosses and entrepreneurs, and they can receive 200 to 100K. Interesting. So the host, okay, and the I guess this is live already. So this is some of the past winners. Um, I don't know. I don't really see um, the opportunity here. I guess maybe advertising and partnerships. Um, so losing 7 million in the first year seems excessive, and then making 2 million. Okay, so you're looking. Oh no, is that 600? Oh, it's hard to read. I need to zoom in here. Um, yeah, that's oh 600. Ah, okay, that's more reasonable. Okay, so you say you're gonna hit 1.4 million this year. Question is, are you really on track for that? Is this an updated deck? Looks like this is the CEO. Tom is his name. All right. Yep. Tom. It looks like. Um, so it seems like this person already has trust in this market. It's just something that I don't really know what it is, or I'm not familiar with the market, and not too many investors have exposure to these types of opportunity. I guess this would be media opportunities. So 2 slides on the founder of credible track record, the team. Again, a lot to read. Like, this is just not a desirable deck to read. Complementing acquisitions. Does this mean these acquisitions are already made? Or is this what you're raising money for? Don't see this in a deck. So at the end of the day, this is not a VC deck. Like, it is what it is. I can't judge the business because I don't know anything about it, but this is not a VC deck. If I were raising money for this company, I would not pitch it to any VCs. This would be high net worth individuals that have an appeal for this type of genre and media. Moving on. Welcome to CartaMe, the next generation card for all payments and loyalty schemes. Okay. Again, not a super attractive deck. Income loss due to new payment methods, no differentiation from competitors or space. See, low user incentive for retail banking products, customer acquisition, retail challenges. Like, okay. Okay, I guess these are bullets, just not identified as too many payment cards, loyalty cards. Okay, so I guess too many options, I guess, is what this is saying for all parties and transactions, is I guess where it's going. Okay, so one card that does it all and combines everything into one. Attract new customers, a new product. Okay, command manager. Again, this is telling me everything, not showing me anything. Way too much text. I just, an all-in-one solution for users, banks, Visa, retailers. Okay, yeah, credit cards are big market. I don't like, big market, but I don't really know what you do yet per se, and how it'll work, and what stage you're at. Revenue streams for each issue. Act okay, so you get paid per card. Ads. I guess you're gonna have a mobile app. And you don't know how much you're making. I guess maybe this deck's not done yet. Maybe just idea stage. Large retailers, all retailers, pay for leads. Okay, so loyalty program model. I'll be honest. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this deck. I see these kind of things where they have like no traction, no validation, no tag, nothing built. You haven't convinced me of any substance. It's like we're gonna be the all-in-one perfect solution that everyone wants. But it's like, okay, cool, but how are you going to do it? How are you going to convince people to adopt it? Yeah, sure, your idea theoretically is better than everything else that's ever existed in all time, but I don't care because I don't know if you are the person to make this happen. So I'm guessing this is a pre-seed, super early, no traction, no, maybe no tag. Here we go. Oh, it's been around for a while. Okay, so okay, there's companies in 4 company. Okay, so you've raised 2.1 million to date, and this is your deck. Okay, so first of all, big miscorrelation there in terms of the quality of this deck and what you guys are doing, and the amount of capital you have raised. That's a red flag to me as a VC. Also, again, no traction outside of capital raised for 6 years. I was just like, that's a bad signal to investors. So, take my feedback or leave it. It's up to you, but that's concerning. Okay, so from average number of monthly transactions to date from 2021 to 2023, I don't understand that. So that's what you're currently having, or you've maintained 160,000 transactions to date since then, or you've achieved that point. I'm assuming that you're now at 160,000 transactions as of Q1, which, we're about to end Q2. So it'd be interesting to kind of see maybe the last month or something along those lines. I guess maybe you're trying to smooth out the data or something. Revenue to date. That's okay. Wait, before monetization? This is not monetization? Where's revenue to date before? So I guess you're saying you haven't monetized yet, but you've made $42,000. I guess maybe that's off transaction fees. But again, been around 2 years monetizing and only made $42,000. That's not exciting. And then somehow miraculously you guys are going. I guess that's poor use of the decibels here. I don't know if that's 3 million, 330. Yeah, that just this is a terrible deck. Period. Like I having to spend way too much time trying to figure this out, and I see no credibility factors. The formatting is sloppy as can be. I am not made it very far. I don't know where you're based. I don't know. You were trying to raise 5 million. You're trying to raise on a $50 million valuation. Yeah, I don't think this is a good deck. I can see the founders are very passionate about what they're building and think it's awesome, but it's clearly an international company, which, maybe I don't know about the market they're in, but it's just a very poorly executed deck, they probably need to hire a professional deck designer, which of course I'm going to recommend Deco.com or GetDeco.com, our partners, that know how to design and build decks properly. But here, I think the story, if there is a story here, it's not being articulated properly, and it does not look venture backable. As far as the scores are concerned, I would give this one a. Am I not sharing? Yeah, I am sharing my screen. Cool. I would be giving this one probably a 1. I don't believe you put any effort into this deck. I think you did, but as far as what is standard in the venture capital world, this does not meet the standard. So moving on. Splitz pitch deck. All right, let's zoom in because I made that mistake before. Splitz, you create it, we protect it. Let's get you paid for it. Okay, a little snazzy. We're shaping how creators manage their work and protect their earnings. Clear. All right. I'm intrigued. It's something that I've seen a couple of things like this. So it's in creator economy. That's a hot topic these days, hot trend. I'm interested in learning more. The current process in place for creators is inefficient, hard, and writing down. Picture is not streamlined, proper. I guess I would try to classify which creators this is for and what type of creators. There's many, many different kinds. Are we talking about musicians? Are we talking about YouTubers? Are we talking about, OnlyFans? I guess we don't really know what type of creator, or if it's all creators, but it'd just be good to kind of bring that into place. It says artists, creators in securely keeping track of their work and money in one place. So I'm looking at these look like really poorly done mock-ups with the scrunched screen. Careful there. Show me a phone that looks like that. So it looks, kind of poorly edited here, and also tells me that the product's probably not ready yet. So super early stage, I'm imagining. So details matter. Details matter. Do not let a VC get hung up on stupid details like this. This is, kills decks all the time. You can just kind of see how this is laid out. It just looks like poor execution, which is okay, if that's the attention to detail you have in your deck, you probably don't have the attention to detail in your business. Stupid small detail that could kill your deck. Over 40K songs. Okay, so this is market opportunity. This is all the content being published every day. Cool. Okay, big. Might be good to say how you capitalize on that. Okay, you kind of already said this. You're basically repeating what you had said before. Waste of a slide, or maybe consolidate the slide. Okay, here's the actual market opportunity. Music industry. Okay, so it sounds like you really focus on music. Problem is, I see a lot of deals in music. So it's very crowded. I'm already discouraged to make any bets in this space just because it's mostly managed by massive conglomerates, albeit independents are rising. There's more tools coming out for them, and that's great. But it's also just a difficult market that, a lot of VCC deals all the time over it. Let's see where you're at. Okay, so then the Marl Accelerator, they have a wait list. I don't know what users are. I don't know if those are paying users. Just guess it's just probably emails on a wait list, so that's meaningless. Start of rebuild version 2. Okay, so you are already rebuilding V2, and there's no history of a V1. So maybe potentially you used an outsourced dev team that didn't work out, and you maybe raised with an accelerator, got a new tech team or something. I don't know, bad signal. But you're projecting 5,000 to 10,000 downloads / paid users. That's a pretty broad range, and downloads do not equate to paid users ever. So that's concerning about your ability to predict what's coming up. And you don't explain how you're going to do that or how you're going to go to market. Okay, well, here's your market strategy, I guess. So Splitz leverages creative collaboration, music tech show partners. Okay, I guess you're going to conferences. And you're going to partner with these people, and 3.5 collaborators per project. Got it. So I imagine the product is essentially if 5 people are collaborating on a song and they all, let's say, contribute different parts, then they track it in the system and the revenue goes into this system and it divides up accordingly, I guess is what's happening there, and securely. And you pay a monthly fee for it. Okay. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Former investment banking analyst, artist, manager with over 10 years experience. Okay. So relevant background. He knows business, being in investment banking, but also was an artist manager, so he probably acutely knows the problem. That's great. Looks like an end user plus IT banking manager. Interesting. UX person. They need to work on that slide and fix the layout of that slide, for my personal opinion. And they got a full stack developer. Not sure if it's in house. The LinkedIn buttons don't work. So just make sure you test your links in your decks to make sure they all work, because I would have loved to click on your guys' LinkedIns. I think that's an important feature to have on your team slide, is make your LinkedIns available. Super simple thing to do, and it helps me as an investor kind of check your background, because this is obviously super early stage, and I'm investing in the team the other day. Your idea could completely change, so I want to make sure I'm betting on a team that matters. And you probably put you guys as, again, like pre-seed stuff. I'd like to kind of see qualified teams at the top, and kind of, this slide's not bad from a team slide. Logos, that's cool and stuff. But I would suggest, highlighting a little bit more. And I guess you're kind of downplaying this guy a little bit, I guess is what's going on here with the color changes and positioning. So that looks a little weird. Just a, thought there. So be careful with how you do that. And, that's something that, again, you don't want to communicate. You don't want VCs to get hung up on stupid stuff. It's getdeco.com. Just checking the slides here. Yep. And so they put the right URL there. That's my friend Robert, and he'll be able to take care of you guys on the deck build stuff. Just referencing the comments in the LinkedIn. Moving on. Our ask and investment opportunity, 1.2 million in funding. I see you're keeping it kind of vague, not labeling yourself pre-seed, anything like that. First target's 10,000 users. What I would do here, I would probably, this is a waste of space. You're going to spend money on marketing, product, and growth. Everyone knows that. And, you can put that in a small little pie chart if you really want it. Tell me the milestones you're going to hit. I want to know what you're going to accomplish. I want to know how far this money gets you. Because I'm thinking, if I'm investing at this stage as an investor, I want to know if I'm giving you 25K, 100K, 200K, whatever it is that money going to be enough to allow for you to iterate and get to the milestones that's going to be attractive to the next stage investor? And if I see investment slides like this, I'm just, 10,000 users doesn't mean shit. You get I got a bunch of emails. They're users. No, they're not. Are they MAUs? Are they creators? Are they paid users? What does that mean for revenue? How much runway would you have? And those questions are not answered here, and it leaves a bunch of concerns about your ability to prioritize and set up objectives and stuff like that. Again, making me get hung up on stupid stuff that I shouldn't have to get hung up on, and I should be focusing on getting excited about what you're doing. Okay, so let me give the quick rating here. I think it's kind of between a 2 and 3. I think it's partly due to you're just early. You don't have a lot to stand on just yet. It could be good, it could be great, but the deck, I would say, is better than some of the other ones we've looked at in terms of its layout. But I think you miss a couple opportunities to sell yourselves and sell the opportunity. But I wouldn't totally dismiss it. And it's really going to come down to execution, because, again, the big issue here with VCs, they're going to be betting on you, the team, because they see a million of these music creator apps that are coming out. and most of them never get past the pre-seed stage or seed stage just because they can never really raise any substantial amount of money because there's just so much clutter around it. And, is it a painkiller or is it a vitamin in the industry? And that's a big debate that, it's just by the industry and product you chose to pursue based on, I imagine, your passions. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a venture backable startup. So that's my take there. Moving on. Hum Life 360. Let's go dive in here. A little motivation goes a long way. We make the management of diabetes simpler. Oh, yeah, I've seen this company before, but a completely new deck. That's good to see. Simpler, cheaper, and by using behavior nudges to motivate people to live a more diabetes-friendly life. All right, so solving what everyone, I would believe, understands is diabetes is a big problem, and you're making it simpler and cheaper for these people to live healthier lives. Okay, big problem. I'm following along here. My own diabetes story. Okay, personal story. Since I'm not particularly educated on diabetes, A1C doesn't mean anything to me. 12 months, like I guess that just means you got healthier. Nudged me to motivate, live better each day, and I knew what needs to be done. So this could either be a slam dunk for anyone that knows and is directly impacted by diabetes, but anyone that's not, I don't know what this means. I don't know how this impacted your life. I don't know what you went through this. So it's simple, but, kind of leads some more information needs to be done. But basically the point you're making is motivation worked for you. Got it. Simple. I'm following along. I'm continuing on. So the problem is lack of motivation can apply with, care plan. Is that I would be, motivation's a hard problem to solve for. Many people have tried in every industry possible, and people are just lazy. So that's just want to kind of see how you're going to do that. Okay, personalized motivation at scale. Okay, smart nudging fills compliance gap. Smart nudging fills. Okay, so just try not to waste words. You're kind of repeating yourself up here. Basically you're combining proven behavioral science techniques with artificial intelligence to improve motivation. Probably give maybe a better example. But I want to point out for everyone else listening, at least this deck is super simple. It's kind of like 1 point each, so I can at least follow along and give it a shot. When I get so overwhelmed with all those other decks we saw with so much text, I just want to give up. I'm not really convinced that I need to take a meeting with this company yet, but at least it's simple enough for me to quickly scan and go through. Maybe too simple, but at least it's clear and to the point. I'm understanding. So again, if I have an affiliation to the problem personally, I might be interested. If I invest in kind of med tech, health, mental health and wellness, that kind of stuff, I'd be particularly interested in taking a look further and having a call. Because I'm able to clearly understand that you're trying to build an app to motivate people to live healthier lives that are impacted by diabetes. Key features that it works. All right, here we go. Oh, okay. Oh, that's coming back around. Okay, got it. Match with nudge friend. All right, so there's a friend that's involved, a human. Okay, so I'd be curious on how that scales and who that friend is, if it's a friend, or it's a, employee. AI, nudging action, okay, nudge to reinforce care plan. Yeah, okay, it's simple, but I don't know really what that involves. But you're saying here the results are A1C reduced, new habits developed, and cost savings. So effectively it's a habit-forming app tied to an acute problem. So one concern I have is niche market. So leaving a missed opportunity here on the team. Someone that's, this person has 2 patents. Like, what does that mean? Like, that doesn't give me a lot of credibility. MIT maybe, director, I don't know what that is, and solution architect. That doesn't give me a lot of, tell me why you guys are credible. Give me the sizzle. I don't care about your advisors. I guess you're saying this guy works with 10,000 diabetics. Maybe you tell me that story, but like, artificial intelligence, the DoD, I don't know how that's super relevant. Having some whatever investor advisors that are not big names doesn't help. And you really are focusing on the founder story with them, especially this early stage. So for all founders out there, give me the sizzle. Tell me why your team is sexy and are capable of winning this, market. Don't give me just titles and names. Like that does nothing to defend you and make you look good. So give me like where you worked, what you accomplished, and keep it short. Like for me, it's like, Jason Kirby, founder, raised over 40 million with four exits. Like, okay, like easy, credible bullets. Now, obviously that's not the case for everyone, but it's like find what those little nuggets are for you and highlight them. A lot of people use like their past employer logos, if it's big brands, whatever, those things work too. So team slide needs work. And also, like I said, don't do advisors unless it's like a major household name or like an industry name. That's terrible. I could see you probably don't want to put all the logos there because it's probably too busy, but that means you probably don't need this many competitors on here. But let's see what you're competing on. Very friendly, very flexible, so you don't need very in there. It's just excessive. Similar to what you've done here. You could just leave it like that. You could just say friendly, flexible. I don't know. I would choose better words. This is not how these kind of maps work. You can't have multiple points here and just put yourself in the top right quadrant. It just looks unprofessional. So product development, traction. Okay, these are fully developed application, operational platform. Okay, so here you go. You have 489 pilot customers, 20% growth, 10K pilot revenue. I guess you never really said how you're making money. That's important. So I would say, okay, here you got, tell me how you're making money. Advertising, I didn't see it if it was here at any point. So that's a missing opportunity. And investment opportunity, again, like small slide like this. Again, you don't need to break it down. Like you can just have just this and be done with it. There's no marketing, so I'm not sure how you're expecting to get users. There's no go-to-market acquisition strategy or anything like that. I don't know what this means. I guess you're building another version of it because the first version isn't good enough. So I don't know what happened there. You expect to have 10,000 paying customers and 280K MRR with 1.2 million, yet you did not describe how you plan to acquire customers. So I would not give this deck a very high score. New habits about, but wow, really bearing the lead here. Okay, talk about the success that you guys have done. I don't know who you're saving money for. That's another, again, I don't know who's paying you and for what. I don't know if it's insurance companies. So yeah, a lot to be desired. It was simple, but too simple of a deck. Left some room to unpack more. So still some work to be done. I'm gonna kind of go with like a 2, maybe a 3. I would go with a 3 if I was impacted by diabetes and I'm an investor in the space. I would probably just want to take the meeting to see if I can believe in the founders and if it's something worth my time. Because the problem was very clearly defined. Do I believe in the solution being the right one? I think there could have been some more work there, but not awful. But definitely need some love. All right, Farmshare, shake the hand that feeds you. Okay, like that. I'm kind of following along. The food, this is the dollar you spend at the grocery store. Yep, that's a problem I'm aware of, and that is painful to see. Consumers, producers have no channel to buy or sell directly. So I don't know if the buying directly is the problem. That's not something like, it's not like, oh, I really want to buy from the farmer. I tend to go to the farmer's market or whatever, and that's like kind of more of an experience than a practical solution. But when you kind of address this, you're basically saying the solution should be to solve this is to buy direct, which is more of a solution looking for a problem. As far as positioning, now I kind of understand what you're trying to say. Basically, if the producers sold direct, they would make more money, and you would save money as a consumer, so I get that. But I'm leaning towards this might be a vitamin and not a painkiller. So yeah, creating a marketplace on either side, get the producers, get the consumers, everyone saves more money, makes more money, easy to understand, great. And so 77% goes to the farmers, great, and 23% goes to processing packaging. The only problem you missed here is how much am I saving as a consumer? Is that a value proposition to bring in consumers or not? So that I am not sure of, but I will give you credit, albeit I disagree with some of the messaging. I think from a simplicity perspective, I'm following along. I'm continuing to read the deck. So you've got me in it, which is good, and it's simple to follow. All right, so your traction as of last year, you had 30 producers, 2 times customer frequency, meaning the customers bought twice, but you need to explain over what period of time. You also need to say 25K in sales. Is that gross merchandise value? That means the farmers made 25K, or is that what you made as far as your margin? So you need to be explicit there. VCs hate that stuff. Call it exactly what it is. Don't mislead. 2,500 community member signups. 6% conversion on cool vendor outreach. Okay, yeah, sure. I don't know what conversion ultimately means. I guess that means signing up. But that means, how many people did you actually reach out to? How big is the market? I don't know. You launched in May. You've onboarded 76. You have 600 in the pipeline. 10 organic vendors. Okay. All right. That's, you got something going for you. I don't know really how to quantify it yet. Simple marketplace. It's, Instacart style experience, but direct to farmers. I would probably just say Instacart for farmers or farmers markets. And so, the farmers get to see how much money they're making, so they have a vendor experience. So I guess really you're a logistics company with a marketplace, because are you guys going to the farms and picking all their stuff up and distributing it to the consumers via, traditional mailing? That I don't know. That wasn't clearly identified of how you're handling the consumer side. Okay, B2C marketplace, build community of consumers. So you're charging a SaaS as well. Okay. I didn't know that. Wasn't expecting that. Building a market. Okay. So basically you're telling these farmers to run a store. Probably a little concerned about that. Don't know. Like they kind of just sell in bulk to one buyer or maybe a few buyers and make their money and move on. But you're basically saying, hey, to get that extra margin, you got to do all the work. Not sure that's the right approach. And also $3,000 per vendor per year. How many vendors are there? How much money can you make from them? Like you're competing against Instacart and all that kind of stuff. Can you provide like a consistent deliverable experience? You got misfits markets and all that kind of stuff. So I think are you competing on the right points to win market share and basically steal market share from these people? I'm not sure. There's a lot of players in the space. Very messy, very expensive to operate and to scale. Not sure how you're national or how you're doing all this and what the costs ultimately come down to be. So a lot of questions. I'm not entirely convinced that this is the right business that will win. And I haven't been convinced that you guys are the ones to do it. Looking finally at the team. All right, so ranch hand. He's worked on a farm. It's gives him a little bit of relevancy, but also has some professional business experience. So in-house tech, which is great. In-house, okay. The team doesn't look bad. I would just be concerned about are you guys the ones to deliver and execute? Again, advisors, I'm not a fan of advisors. I don't usually think they add much value sometimes, but sometimes they do. All right, so I give this one 3, 4. I don't personally believe this is an opportunity that VCs are going to be excited about. There wasn't enough of the problem statement explaining why farmers want to be merchants and how that's going to impact them. And why and how you're going to get consumers. Like, okay, vendors, all right, sure, they're going to make money, they'll give it a try, they'll sign up, but are they actively using it? And how are you guys going to get consumers at a high volume to, to use this, and what's the core value proposition to them as opposed to Instacart and all these other apps that they already naturally use, and can they buy everything all at once? Like there's a lot of missing information on the consumer acquisition side. So I'm kind of leaning more towards 3 on my side. Like there could be something here, I just wasn't fully convinced. Would I take a meeting? Probably not. I didn't see enough credibility to warrant it, but I look for traction in my personal opinion, and I didn't see enough here. But it's not to say there's not enough people out there that would be interested in this. But that's it, everyone. I know there's some more decks I didn't get to. Just make sure you link a publicly accessible deck, and preferably in PDF format when you submit. We do this every single Friday, so be sure to subscribe on our Luma page. I'll post this up on YouTube, and so it'll be recorded and accessible for anyone that couldn't join us. And we'll be doing this every week. So I hope you had fun. If you guys have questions, you're welcome to chime in. We had some pretty good, consistent participation throughout, but would love to kind of get some opinions next time. Oh wow, we got a lot of comments coming in on LinkedIn. I didn't get to see what I was going through, but again, everyone, appreciate you joining me, and hopefully see you guys next week. And also stay tuned for other events that we run. I usually bring in experts on various different topics. You can learn more what we do at thunder.vc. We help companies raise capital, and we do it with leveraging AI and technology. If you ever have questions, you're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn or email, jason@thunder.vc. Thanks again, everyone. Hope you have a good rest of your day.